Hey, how are you doing? Hikikomori, defined by the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare, is a person in the circumstance that they principally shut themselves out of a society and keep staying home for over 6 months without going to school and going to work. So if I choose one appropriate English word that applies to the definition of hikikomori, that is shut in. But hikikomori rather indicates a person with no problem who intentionally makes a decision to keep staying home than a person who is forced to stay home because of serious disease or health problem that English word shut in originally indicates, right? So in short, simply speaking, hikikomori is a person cutting off chances to communicate with others, except for their family, who stubbornly keep staying home. So according to the survey related to hikikomori conducted by the Japanese government in 2022, the number of people who can be recognized as a hikikomori in Japan is 1 million. So this much population is equivalent to 1% of total Japanese population. And surprisingly, 61% of 1 million hikikomori people in Japan is older than 40 years old, right? So the most serious thing to be problematized related to hikikomori in a Japanese society is the situation where parents who are old enough not to be able to work in a society feed their children who become hikikomori with their pension revenue paid by the Japanese government while living together in the same place. So this social problem is called 50-80. So the combination of two digits numbers expresses parents' age and their children's age. So it's like 80-year-old parent feeds 50-year-old hikikomori children with their pension revenue. So moreover, the amount of pension payment from the government has reduced year by year in Japan, and the average pension payment amount from the government is now 60,000 yen monthly per person, which is about 432 US dollars monthly per person at the current exchange rate. So you can understand how seriously these people are driven into a corner financially. So this situation also brings about serious poverty problem in Japan. So, and there are so many thinkable factors that people fall into hikikomori in a Japanese society. The largest number of reasons that people fall into hikikomori is said to be a setback experience which is as serious as it makes it possible for them to revive back to the society. So bullying is like bullying from friends or colleagues, or harassment from boss or colleagues, or failing the entrance examination of university or college, or failing to pass job application, or broken heart, or self-condemnation because of failing to respond to expectations from people around them, or something like that. So, but in my opinions, these are just a trigger that they make a decision to keep distance from a society in desperation emotionally. So the things that I problematize the most is the normalization of the stance that they take to keep distance from a society, not to repeat experiencing the same setback in their life. So at first, when it has not been long since they started becoming hikikomori, they can somehow persuade themselves to justify the reason of hikikomori with setback experience that was the trigger for hikikomori. But as time goes by, they're aware of another reasons that they force themselves to keep distance from a society. So which is the problem of whether or not a society accepts them, right? The more time passes, the more confidence that they are deprived of by the fact of blank period that they have done nothing. You know what I mean? So imagining that decisive difference between them and a social person who is active in a society is the cause that makes them postpone making the decision to step into a society. So they always have the strong feeling of worthlessness and self condemnation, like nobody accepts a useless person like me. And it's like there is no place that accepts someone like me who keeps rejecting going into a society. So most of the problems they have in their mind have the fact that they look society as harsh thing more than necessary. So of course there is a peer pressure and the movement that condemns the existence of hikikomori in a Japanese society. But their worries mostly come from imaginary fear generated by absence of self-confidence. Right? So although there is actually atmosphere in Japan that supports rehabilitation of hikikomori, if anything, hikikomori is emotional problems rather than the simple social problem in Japan. So, and if a hikikomori person is older than 40 years old, so sensibly caring about plausible rumors and information that no company will hire people with older than 40, settle them with a decision not to step into society forever until the end of their life. So this is a really difficult problem to be solved. But one thing I can say for sure about this problem is that it is not that they keep staying home and keep distance from society without doing work with the first reason that was the trigger for becoming hikikomori in the past. But they suffer from the fear coming from absence of self-confidence that no one may accept them in a society.